Hey, and good evening. Welcome back to another reading of Hank the Cowdog, The Case of the Vampire Cat, Chapter 9. Hint, his name is Leroy. Now, you probably guessed Plato the dog, right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Well, not absolutely wrong. It was partly wrong and partly right. Let me explain. In the dream, Beulah and I were there alone underneath the tree. Well, we've already been over that, haven't we? Yes. When out of nowhere, who would appear but Mr. Birdwatcher himself? Well, I wasn't about to let Plato ruin another precious encounter with me and my one true love in the world. Cheese. I know this sounds weird. Sometimes dreams are like that, you know. Anyways, he came blundering out in the middle of this precious moment, the encounter, and as you might expect, he wanted some of our cheese. Now, I told him to buzz off, but instead of buzzing off, he went off to the giant wheel of cheese and opened his jaws and was about to snap off a huge bite. Only he didn't get the chance because I clubbed him over the head with my enormous paw. That would teach him a lesson, wouldn't it? That was odd. I seemed to be picking up the smell of skunk. At first it was very, very faint, but it didn't take long for it to get a little stronger. In fact, it became so strong, I almost fainted. And holy smokes, that's when my dream rolled away and I found myself back in the real world, under the house at the Hodges place, and I was staring straight in the face of the little eyes of a skunk. Yes, indeed. In my dream, I thought it was Plato, and I'd bopped him on the nose, and that had been exactly the wrong thing to do. Have we discussed skunks? You know, they often take residence up underneath houses. And don't you see, and Mary D. Cat had neglected to tell me that she was sharing the house with a loaded stink bomb. And the last thing you want to do with a loaded stink bomb underneath the house is to heckle him or to get him stirred up with provocatory gestures. Suddenly, my eyes were burning. My lungs were burning. All the circuits in my smellatory olfactory had hit overload, and sirens began going off in my head. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't see. My instrumentation was blown. Smoke and flames and fire filled the control room, and my whole life had come down to just two words: fresh air. I staggered. I stumbled across the darkness, ran into water pipes, hit my head on floor joists, conked my head on cinder blocks, fought my way through the green, poisonous air until I at least reached the escape hatch and tumbled out into the sweet, cold air of night, gasping for breath. I looked around and saw Mary D. Cat a few feet away. She was licking her paw. I should have known that you and Leroy wouldn't have gotten along. Leroy, I gasped. You mean he has a name? Oh, sure. We share the place. He stays on his side and I stay on mine. He's okay with cats, but you must have done something and said something that really hurt his feelings. I mean, he's never done that before. I didn't say anything. I was having a dream, see, and I thought, well, never mind, it's too complicated. The bottom line is I punched him. She stared at me and shook her head. You should never punch Leroy. I realized that. I I'll get it. I wish you hadn't done that. I pushed myself up on all floors. Well, I kind of regret it myself. And I'm sorry you didn't tell me that you were sharing the house with a den of skunks. Leroy's the only one. He's really a nice guy. I noticed that. You can't punch him around. Hey, it was an accident. And he could we change the subject, please? Such as, what do we do now? She cranked up her purring machine and started rubbing on me again. Well, I'm afraid we've lost the house. This has never happened before, and... Suddenly, her eyes turned into flaming circles of fire. She humped her back up and started hissing, I don't know, like a cobra. Like an angry cobra that had gone insane. She drew back her right paw and aimed it right at my nose. Luckily for me, I saw it coming, and I used my lightning-fast reflexes to dodge the punch. Otherwise, our friendship would have ended right there, and she might have... Anyways, she humped up and hissed and threw a wild punch, and then she started screeching at me. You bozo! I offered to help you to save your stupid skin, and now look at what you've done! It was an accident. Accident? Is that all you can say? You found the only skunk within 5 miles, and you punched him out! I was dreaming. Dreaming? Is that all you can say? Now we've ruined my friendship with Leroy. I thought he was a bird dog. Bird dog? Is that all you can say? Well, what do you want me to say? I want you to say... Suddenly, the screeching stopped and went into a moan, and she burst out crying again. I want you to take me away from here. My home is wrecked. It's all I had to show for 2 years. 2 lonely years. I have no place to hide. The coyotes will eat me now. Ah! Oh, Homer, take me away from here. My name is Hank. Her head came up, and once again her eyes were aflamed. Do I care what your name is? You've ruined my life, you clown brain, and now you'd better get me out of here. Don't screech at me. I'll screech at you, and I'll claw out your eyeballs. Okay, screech all you want. She went back to tears. Is that all you can say? I just lost my home, and now you want me to screech about it? What kind of heartless brute are you? Oh, boy. I walked a few steps away and waited for her to get control of herself. At last she did. She came up behind me. Homer, we're in a serious problem. We'll be sending ducks for the predators if we stay here. I agree. If you can get me out of these canyons, I can find the trail way back to my ranch. I know a trail out of the canyons. It'll take us up on top, but it'll be dangerous. I looked down at her. Well, it appears that anything we do around here is going to be dangerous. Trying to carry on a normal conversation with you is dangerous. Every 5 minutes you're wanting to claw my eyeballs out. I've been down here too long. It's made me weird. When I told you that, you threw a fit. She shrugged. Cats are that way. told you that too, and you threw another fit. And my name's not Homer, it's Hank. Well, my name's not Kitty, it's Mary D. Cat. Well, I like Kitty better. I like Homer better. Well, this is all very interesting, but I guess we better get out of here. Which way is out? Follow me! She headed north, though through the corrals, beyond into the deep, forbidden darkness of Picket Canyon. The place was pretty scary in the daytime, but at night, although I had some hesitations and reservations about following a cat anywhere, I'd lower my standards to the point of allowing Mary D. Cat to lead our group out of the canyon, and I stayed pretty close to her. As a matter of fact, we'd gone about half a mile. We topped a little hill over there and near the place where the trail splits, and the left fork goes over to Scott Springs, the main trail, if you remember. It goes on up the canyon to Moonshine Springs. Or maybe you don't remember, if you've never been there, and maybe you have been, but it does. Anyways, the cat stopped on that little hill, looked back south. She heaved a deep sigh and shook her head. I can't do it! You can't do what? Leave! I stared at her in utter, complete disbelief. What do you mean you can't leave? That's all you've talked about ever since the first few minutes that I met you. Take me away from here. Get me away from the ranch. Once again, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. She was crying again. I know it's still my home. How can I leave the place? It's been my home for 2 years. Easy, just keep walking. But I can't walk away from the memories. The sun coming up over the Cap Rock, the wildflowers in the springtime, the mesa sinking into deep purple shadows at sunset. I just about had enough. I stuck my nose in her face and growled, "Look, Cat, you're my ticket out of here. Never mind the memories. Start walking or we're going to have a little riot." She humped up and hissed. Her eyes took that same crazy look I'd seen so many times before. "Listen, bozo, you don't tell me what to do. I'll tear your eyeballs out." I don't know what might have happened if the coyotes hadn't appeared just then, but they did, and we never had a chance to find out. Did they devour both of us in one big cannibal feast? You'll just have to come back tomorrow night and see for yourself. Hey, thanks for joining tonight in the reading of Hank the Cowdog, The Case of the Vampire Cat by John R. Erickson. And tomorrow night, Chapter 10, I Can't Believe I Decided to Help a Cat. All right, thanks for joining. Love one another. Be kind, be safe. Want to see you again. Bye now.